Hello, classmates and Professor Katz. This is Dominic Calabro, and I'm here today for my video presentation for my final report for Introduction to Sustainability. And I selected for my research evaluating the life cycle environmental impacts of chicken farming, comparing commercial to pasture raised. And I learned in the reading assignments for our class about the detrimental environmental effects of pig farming, and it made me curious about poultry farming. Also, I have some friends who started a backyard farming operation to raise hens for laying eggs, and so that also stimulated my interest. And so I am here at the hen den in their backyard, and I'll be showing you some footage of their little operation towards the end of my presentation. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thank you. As with most manufacturing industries, there is a conflict between maximizing the economic benefits while safeguarding the environment. Chicken farming, especially the factory farming version, requires large amounts of inputs, such as feed, water, and energy, with outputs including large amounts of pollutants, such as manure, toxic compounds, pesticides, and greenhouse gases. Chickens are actually the most efficient of all land-based livestock species at converting feed into edible products, but how the chickens are raised is a huge consideration in evaluating the overall sustainability of the industry. Commercial factory farming as a whole, with its billions of birds confined in barns, has a plethora of life cycle environmental impacts, starting with the vast areas of cropland required to grow food for the billions of animals confined within barns globally, to the pollution generated by these operations that threatens to destroy habitats and harm ecosystems, to the massive amounts of water factory farming consumes, both for drinking and cleaning purposes. The crops grown for animal feed are also thirsty. Grain-based animal feeds require 43 times more irrigation water than pasture-based animal feeds. Runoff from the crops grown to feed factory farm animals contains high levels of pesticides and synthetic fertilizers, along with the animal excrement from factory farms themselves. Nitrogen and phosphorus from this runoff are major contributing to acidifying and eutrophying emissions, degrading water supplies for animals and humans alike with algal growth. The runoff also contains pathogens from the manure and from dead and ailing birds, as well as sediment. Both are leading causes of environmental quality impairment in rivers, lakes, and reservoirs. The huge amounts of feathers and bedding contaminated with manure are waste products that are difficult to manage or compost. Large chicken farming operations also produce air pollution in the form of ammonia, hydrogen sulfide gas, and bacteria containing poultry dust. Finally, chicken manure emits nitrous oxide and methane into the atmosphere. From the USDA's 2016 U.S. Agriculture and Forestry Greenhouse Gas Inventory, an estimated 4.98 million metric tons of CO2 equivalent of methane and nitrous oxide were produced in 2013 by poultry from enteric fermentation, grazed land, and animal manure deposition, storage, and application. Greenhouse gas emissions are also produced by the poultry industry via equipment that is dependent on fossil fuels to operate. The term pastured poultry is associated with Joel Salatin, author of the popular book Pastured Poultry Profits. These operations on small to medium-sized farms allow birds complete free range on pasture or raise them in small, open-air movable pens where birds have access to fresh pasture daily. In contrast to factory farming, raising egg-laying hens as pastured poultry on small to medium-sized farms has not just fewer environmental impacts, but can actually result in some environmental benefits. The rotation in pasturing and grazing locations can result in improved soil quality, reduction in the amount of grain needed as feed, recycling of nutrients, reduced soil erosion, and reduced water pollution by keeping the pasturing hens away from waterways and allowing for more even distribution of manure. Chicken manure, especially when worked into the ground, improves soil structure and provides nutrients for plants. Air pollution is much reduced by the open air nature of the operation. By extension, urban or backyard farming operations like this one, recently started by my friends, produces healthier eggs and uses a much less resource-intensive process. Here you can see their chickens, which are of various ages. Chicks can be purchased from local farms and feed stores in the springtime and raised in communities that are zoned for livestock. As with pasture-raised chickens, backyard chickens have grass clippings from mowing the lawn or vegetable scraps from last night's dinner or salad added to their feed. A movable coop with access to bare ground underneath will also allow them to enjoy bugs as part of their diet. The chicks' digestive systems then compost those food scraps and turn them into high nitrogen fertilizer, which can be used in your garden. This is much better than putting that wasted food in the garbage and sending it to a landfill, where it will decompose and produce methane, which is a highly potent greenhouse gas. If straw bedding is used in the chicken coop, as is here, spent bedding can be added to your backyard compost pile or bin as well. The hollow stems allow airflow, which provides oxygen to the bacteria doing the work and a neutral pH to the compost pile. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation and have learned a bit more about this subject. And now I'll give you a little preview or snippet of their backyard chicken farming operations. Hi again. As promised, I'm going to show a little bit of footage of my friend's backyard farming operation. This is my friend Sam DeMaignan, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what it took to get their little backyard chicken farm started.
Hi. Well, the first thing we needed to do was actually build a coop. So we went to several locations, but we found a nice coop. In a little place called Renton, about half an hour away from us. And it was actually so big that we had to get help to get it hauled here, but it works really well, holds quite a few chickens. And in addition to the coop, we also had to buy hay, sand, water dishes, food dishes, and a lot of feed, as well as probiotics. And when they're chicks, they need medicated feed, so we had to get a special type of feed for them.
Thanks, Sam. As you saw in the footage right before this segment, they've got straw floor laid down so that the chicks actually have access to the ground underneath the coop so that they can have a more naturally exposed environment. So I hope you were able to learn something today and you got some new information, and hope you enjoyed the video presentation. Thanks everyone, and best of luck to all of you after the class, and so long for now from the Hen Den.